Our next reader tonight holds an MA in English from the University of Maine. She is the author of a collection of short stories called My Haunted Home from FC2 and the chapbook Death and Darlings from Bottlecap Press. Overall, she hopes to discomfort, humor, and charm, and she is Victoria Hood. Victoria, take it away.
Hey, can you hear me all right? Awesome. Thank you for having me tonight. I am going to start by reading a creative nonfiction piece that I wrote to my now husband. It's titled, I'm Sorry We're Getting Married. I love you, Harry, and of course I would marry you again, but maybe we should have waited. We could have waited until people did not ask if we meant it, if we thought it through. We could have waited until we had the courage to get what we wanted, or the money to feel like we had an opinion. I love you, Harry, but maybe we should have waited until 30. That seems to be when people say it's okay. How much of this is personal anxiety, my constant fear of commitment that I combat with non-monogamy. I know some of it, though, is the whispers of our friends who seem to smirk at the idea that 5 years was long enough or 24 was old enough. I wonder how you're feeling. You always seem so sure. It's not that I wonder about you, but that I wonder about age and if it matters. I love you, Harry, and I'm excited that we can be married most of our lives. What does that mean, though, when we can already love each other for most of our lives, whether the government is involved or not? I love you, Harry, but now I am thinking we could have made a statement, a political social commentary on the institution of marriage by refusing to succumb. I love you, Harry, and I'm wondering what, if any, amount of rebellion is on our shoulders. Are we supposed to decline the expected to make a point? Who will do it if we don't? But the truth is that I love you, Harry, and I want to be the one to decide when to pull the plug in the hospital because I know you better than anyone. I wonder why I bothered to want to get married if I knew that I would never want to stop having sex with strangers. It's not just me. There are other relationships, other people, other marriages that opt for a sense of openness, a shirk at the concept that you could have one dick or one cunt forever. I love you, Harry, because you too are one of those people. I love you, Harry, and now I'm thinking that we could have waited until I knew if I was done going back and back and back to school. But then there's the question of insurance in a country that doesn't care if you live unless you've decided to marry someone who can help you. I love you, Harry, and I'm wondering if it's insurance fraud to marry even though you don't believe in the institution of marriage. But you are a bartender, and someone needs to bring home the healthcare. I love you, Harry, and I wonder if we would have called it off by now if your parents were not religious, or if they hadn't put in so much money. We've talked about it before, how our wedding is not the one we are having, but that is okay because we are the spouse that we wanted. I love you, Harry, but we're not even sure if we want kids anymore. Wasn't that the first reason we gave? If we want kids, we might as well make it easier and get married, but now we never seem to agree. When I want kids, you don't. When you want kids, I don't. I think about the disappointment it would be to our families, your parents. I love you, Harry, but maybe we're doing ourselves a favor. If we don't have kids, then we don't have to disappoint your parents, even more with the fact that they won't take your last name or mine. Rather, we want to combine. I love you, Harry, but I'm nervous that once we told your parents we wouldn't baptize our children, they will look for a daughter-in-law elsewhere. I'm nervous they would scoop you up and take you out of my life. I love you, Harry, but I've always had control issues, and you can't control a child. Not in the way that I want to control. A child is a person and not an extension of me. They're an individual, and individuals scare me. I love you, Harry, but I think I've answered my question. Maybe I answered yours as well. Either way, however we think, I will see you at the wedding in July. This next piece I'm going to read is a flash fiction piece that I wrote while falling in love with my other partner, Zach. Leaking. I don't want to leak out my memories onto your pillow. I've already left so much of me there. At night, I can feel my dreams crawl out and inject themselves into your side. I can feel the veins of the pillows pulsing through to each other. I can't afford to lose more of me to your sheets, washed away when laundry day comes. I try shoving toilet paper in my ears, but the roll never fits. I try to choke down a paper towel holder to furnish my body for you. Please clean up after yourself, try not to make a mess. No matter how many paper products I fill myself with, I can feel them all spill out on your bed. I can feel them crumble and mold before my head hits the pillow. I try not to think of things I want to keep hidden, but of course then that is all I will think of. I don't want you to see the high school fights or the fear of losing a friend group that you'll never meet. I want to hide away all the feelings of not being enough in school and shove it under the rug where I keep my feelings of not being enough for you. I superglue the edges to make sure none of them escape, but that doesn't stop your crowbar. The way your hand traces my body, I ooze with wanting, I drip with secrets, I am soaked with impatience. Touch me and I'll lose all my insides. If you linger over me, then I just might emulsify. Then you can wash me out of your sheets. And this last piece is a nonfiction story that I wrote about both of my partners. My sticky sweets. The first time I saw you, you were talking about the bloody handprints on the walls, Halloween decorations that you lined your own hand up to. You joked about the way in which these handprints were unrealistic. We were so young then, not even double digits. The first time I saw you, you came to a party at my apartment. Relentlessly a friend of a friend, both of us in non-monogamous relationships, neither of us knowing about the other. Anytime you would laugh, the whole room would stop to listen. You never seemed to leave my peripheral vision since then. Always in the same grade, always at the same school, sometimes in the same class, often at the same venue, you playing the same routes as my brother, me always enamored by you. You never seemed to leave my peripheral vision since then. Always at my parties, always you with your best friend who was dating my best friend. Sometimes we would see each other around town. Often it was only in my house in brief moments of connection. It was when I left for college that we became closer, that you snuck your way into my skin like an IV drip. I remember waiting for the messenger alarm to sound on my phone. I remember waiting to find more words from you. Now I wake up to your words in the morning, surrounded by our elderly cat. It was when the party was small that we couldn't help but sit together, that you snuck your way into my skin like an IV drip. I remember waiting for my Snapchat to tell me you were typing, to tell me that you were thinking of me again. Now I wake up to your alarm, a time we agreed upon, and we snuggle as we watch your curated meme collection. In the spaces between the two of you, I snuggle up for comfort. I always knew it would be possible for me to fall in love with two people at once. I knew the whole time that my love does not end. It is a well with no bottom. I can put all of me into more than one. I always knew I could handle it, but I never knew if it would happen. I never knew two of you could exist in such perfect forms that you both take my breath away. I'm wheezing and gasping and dying to know all of you. There is an overlap in timelines, but it is not a perfect circle. I have known one longer and one shorter, but we all know that time is a construct. We all know that at the end of this, we will all just be piles of skin that we're just trying to sew ourselves together. So how do you fall in love again when you've already done it once? How do you etch someone into the glasses you've already carved? It always just seems to appear. I have love oozing out of my fingertips, sappy and sugary. I let it rub off on the people I care about. I douse my friends with my sticky sweet. It just so happens you couldn't escape it. It just so happens you were leaking too. It just so happens that we were both just here together and neither of us want to leave. My sticky sweet loves, the people I collect in batches like they are cake coming out of the oven. With the two of you in my mind, it never wants to stop smiling. Two parts of me that never wanted to agree seem to open up and stitch themselves together. Independently, you would both be enough. Always, always, always. But conjoined in my heart, I am so swollen I cannot contain myself. If time is cyclical, if I have to keep living this timeline again and again, I couldn't imagine it without either of you. I don't think I could untie my boat from your dock. Thank you guys.